How you doing today? Stone Cold R here again with another little how-to video. Today I am going to show you how to install an inlet pipe. This one is from Burger Motorsports. I just got it in today. Looks pretty good. I don't know why this isn't focusing very well. It's got a little velocity stack on the inside. No hard, sharp edges on the inside to cause turbulence or disrupt airflow. So it looks pretty good. Ready to put that on. And while I'm also doing that, I'm going to show you how to take out the battery tray. So when you go to do a DSG fluid service, I actually have already done a DSG fluid service and put in Motul DSG fluid. However, since I've done that, I started noticing a hard shift going from second to third. So I just went down to the dealership today and purchased OEM fluid to put back in here to do a little bit of troubleshooting on that, and I'll have some more data on that later as well. But let's get started. So I already have an aftermarket intake on here, but the stock one uses the same size clamp. So I'm just going to use a 7mm here to loosen that hose clamp. It should come out. Now, on this intake particular, the Integrated Engineering, the vacuum line for the intake flaps, it's down here on this little barb. So pull that off, and then we'll just lift the intake out. Okay, now that we have the intake out of the way, we're going to need to remove the PCV return hose here off of the throttle pipe. And to do this, I'm just going to grab from this side and pull towards the driver's side. I'm going to pause the camera and put it down so I can actually get a grip on it. It does take a little bit of force, so you have to pull really hard up and towards the driver's side fender and it'll come out. Okay, now we have that loose. Just move that kind of out of the way. And behind here you're going to see a T30 screw that's going to need to be removed to get the factory inlet hose or inlet pipe off. Okay, once you have the screw loose, you're going to take the factory inlet pipe, rotate it backwards towards the firewall, and pull it out. Okay, now that we have it out, I need to take the, I really don't understand why those cameras having difficulty focusing on anything. Once we take it out, there's an O-ring on here. We're going to take that off and place it onto the new pipe. You're going to need a small pick tool or something of the sort, small screwdriver, something to pull it off. It's pretty easy to do. Okay, now that we have both of them sitting here on the bench, I just wanted to go over the shape of them, and you can see the factory one tapers down a lot. This one's pretty wide open, 2.5 inch all the way until it goes into the velocity stack on the inside. So it's going to open up some freer flowing there, and we'll just go ahead and start to put this one back on. So you want to place it back in and keep the, it's kind of hard to do this one-handed. And you're going to want to start with the tab for the screw to go into. You're going to want that rotated down, and on the inlet pipe itself, it does have three small little ridges that have to turn counterclockwise back towards the front of the vehicle to lock into the compressor housing. So I think I've got it all lined up. There we go. And then we're just going to retighten down our T30 screw here. And I'll tighten that up. Okay, once that's back, screwed down all the way, just going to take the PCV hose and place it back in place on the pipe. Everything looks to fit very well. Pretty easy to do. Now we'll get started on removing the battery and the battery tray. Okay, so with this you're going to have two 10mm nuts that you're going to need to remove, or just loosen rather. I'm not going to remove them all the way. We're going to take the ground off first. And then we will loosen that. And be careful, there is a little plastic thing here. If you want to keep that on there like I do, just go ahead and remove it and set it to the side. That way it doesn't fall into the engine bay. Once you get that removed, you're going to need to take a 13mm and remove this bolt here. And this bolt here is a bracket that holds the battery in place. And we will pull the battery out. Okay, so once we've got the battery out of the way, I went ahead and remove the ECU just to make things a little bit easier, and to be able to access this bolt here a little bit easier, so this harness is not all in the way. All of these are going to be 3. There's going to be one here, and one here. They're all going to be removed by a T30 or by a 10mm. There's also a 10mm nut back here that needs to be removed as well, so we'll get started on that. Okay, once you have all 3 of those removed and the nut loosened or removed from up here, you don't really have to remove it all the way, because this that comes out here, it actually does slide into place onto that. It doesn't have just a hole. It actually has a notch cut out in it where the battery tray can slide up. And then you're also going to need to remove the main power wire here. It goes to your fuse box rather. You're going to need to remove that from here, and then we will lift the tray up and out.